Okay, let's continue. So now so we've got what we need for our persistent scene set up. The only thing that we need to do before we move on is to create some data. So if we look at the data controller, we have this all-round data array. And right now the size is 0. We're going to make it 1 so that we have 1 round. And this round will be, let's call it round 0. And the time limit in seconds will be 30. Points added for a correct answer will be 10. And then the questions will have 3 questions. And the first question will be, are lions carnivores? And the answers, there will be 2. The first answer will be yes. And the second answer, will be no. Yes is the correct answer to this question. Then we will have, where do mice live? This one will have 3 answers. The first will be on the moon. No question mark. The second will be on land. And the third will be in the sea. And the correct answer is mice live on land. For the last question, we will ask, what do frogs eat? And the answers, there will be 2. Flies, which is correct, or pizza, which is not correct. So now we've populated our data controller with some data, and we're ready to move on from our persistent scene. So let's save that and move to our menu screen. So our menu screen is going to be very simple. It's basically just a start button. Of course, you could add other things to it if you want. We're going to do this using Unity's UI. So we're going to go ahead and create a UI button. And we're going to set the text of it to start game. And we're going to anchor it and position it to the center of the canvas, which it doesn't want to do for some reason. That's interesting. Okay, sure. Let's reset the values in the rect transform. And now we have that positioned in the middle of our canvas. We're going to add a UI text, which is also going to be centered, and this will be quiz game. Let's make the size 32. The color is going to be white. And then we will move it up a little bit and make its rect larger so that we can actually see the text. And maybe we'll make it 40. And just align it, and we're going to center and middle align it. Okay, there we go. So this will be our start button. And we just need a very simple little controller script for this scene. We're going to create an empty game object called menu screen controller and add a mono behavior to it called also menu screen controller. And while I'm at it, let me just clean up put this in the scripts folder, and we will double click it for editing. We're going to need to add the using Unity Engine.scene management namespace, because we're going to want to load a different scene from here, and we're going to have a single function, which is public, called start game. And in this function, we're just going to call scene manager.load scene game. this function is going to be called, oh, whoops, this returns void. This function is going to be called from our button. So when we click our button, it is going to call start game, which is going to load the game scene. Okay, let's save that. In the Unity editor, we are going to add an onClick event to our button to call that function. So we're going to click the plus button to add an onClick event, drag a reference to the menu screen controller game object. From the menu screen controller script, we're going to call the start game function. And that's why it needs to be public, so it can be called from the button. Okay, now if we play and test, click start game, and it takes us into our game scene. So that is working as intended so far. Okay, let's save that. And next, we're going to begin setting up the UI in our main game scene. Let me just take a look at the chat and make sure folks are doing okay.